As always, text someone, call someone, even take a message and put it around a pigeon and tell someone that you appreciate them. My name is Dr. Avery L. Taylor. Welcome to the N1 File. Hope you had a beautiful weekend. Hope everything is going well for you. I received a couple emails about the report that came out about Memphis poverty. In the African American community, poverty is on the rise. I want to say it was in the high 30s from before. This is my opinion and my opinion on it. This is the opinion of the N1 file. And I do have some research to back up my personal opinion. There is more than one way to get out of poverty. More than one way. And sometimes people, they perceive, okay, I think that's the best word to say, or they pretend they want people to come out of poverty. And so many of them use what we call a cookie cut type mentality. In other words, it works here, it works there, it works there, it's all the same thing. I want to take a little bit of your time and talk about one approach or many. My approach may not be the only approach, which I think that there are many ways to come out of something, not just one way. And I believe that different cultures call for different ways or different means to learning. Every culture does not learn the same way. And sometimes when I talk to educators or talk to researchers, there's a huge argument. What's best for this particular environment? One of the things I support, besides discipline, okay, I think that in the things that we do, if we want to become or be achievers, we need to have some type of discipline that goes along with that. Now, I do understand that the word discipline can be debated when it comes to definitions. And I believe in definitions. In order to have a strong conversation, we need to define certain words. Because even though we have the Webster Dictionary, we still have a different culture may define that word different. But I believe that if we are sincere about bringing people out of poverty, a strong education is one way, just one of the ways out. And I support the curriculum that is called STEMs or either STEAMs, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, or science, technology, art, engineering, and mathematics. Put the art in there because I believe in art, and I don't just mean taking pictures. There's a lot of discipline when it comes to painting. What type of paint is used, what type of stroke that is given, so forth and so on. And if you ever have the opportunity to really get involved in art, you'll find out that it's a huge multi-billion-dollar industry in that world, where some people just would buy art paintings and put in their basement or their storage and keep 10 or 15 years before they put it back out on the market. So it's a huge market. Also, when you learn about art, you find that different artists has different strokes or different styles of painting, so now you can identify their paintings. It's the same way in the music industry. There's certain songs that you know who the artist is right away, like James Brown music. You just know that's James Brown or Luther Vandross. You say, hey, that's Luther there. So even in that world of art, you distinguish yourself from other people. But one of the ways to get out of poverty, I believe that we have a strong education piece because most people, and this is global and either university, a lot of times people learn hands-on. In other words, if they can put their hands on it and play with it for a little while, they get it. They get it. And you can move from there. Certain children or certain students or certain people, if you put them in an intellectual classroom and the teacher is just going to read to them, things become boring. It's the same way in life itself. If you go to your local church and the minister's just going to read the text, sometimes your mind wander. So most people in poverty, most, it's not all, they live in an environment where there is always interaction and changes. Like, for example, most of the churches that you'll find in poverty neighborhood, the church, you're always moving, you're always clapping, and they'll say things like, praise the Lord, and stuff like, I don't hear you. So because the preacher wants you to talk back to him or her, they want that feedback. Most of the time when they have a family reunion, it's always dancing and playing cards and loudness and all this kind of stuff right here. And now you're going to tell me to come to class and sit there for an hour or two and I can't move. That's not my environment. So we'll find out that when it comes to STEM or STEAM, that curriculum has proven itself to be the best curriculum for people who are in poverty, and be honest with you, people outside of poverty. Because when we look at where we are now in a global society, in a changing society, we need science. Most everything we do is centered around science, whether it's science toward medicine or science toward behavior science, how I act or how I interact. Most everything we do centers around the science. Also, most every industry out there, technology plays a very important part in there. This weekend, I was talking to some elderly people, and we were just talking about food and cooking and all these type of things there. And I remember my father had a coffee pot, very simple, and he put the grounds in it and put the water and put it on some heat. It boils, and the whole house smelled like coffee. He pours the coffee out now, in a cup or whatsoever. But now, what I do, I put a little cartridge inside this little machine. I mash the button. Then it go beep beep. I put my cup up under my coffee or tea or whatever it is. It's made. It's technology. No longer where I have to put some grains in a cup, put some water, put it on the stove, boil it. That's my father's generation. My generation, I put a cup under, mash the button. The water already has a filter through it. It's already set. You can turn the temperature in. And even now, my coffee cup machine, I can time it. At 6 o'clock, the coffee is automatic, comes out in the cup. Technology. It's just where we are. We even have stoves now that when you put your food on the stove or your pots and so forth and so on, if you don't watch it, your food is already done. Technology. They even have cookware now. Not like grandmother cookware, the old skillet, so forth and so on. It's where the cookware itself is made where food keeps all the flavors in, and it cooks faster. We're moving that way with technology. Even now, if I run a red light or someone else run a red light, hit my car, I become paralyzed. They put me in a wheelchair now. They can put different types of technology in my body where I can now almost take care of myself. Technology. And when we go to engineering, keeping that same metaphor of a wheelchair, we have all kind of robotics type of machinery that can keep me moving now. And I may have a stroke, heart attack, all kind of things. So when we look at this type of curriculum is very much needed in our community. And it's just one way of coming out of poverty. So if any students listen to me, if you want a healthy career going forward in the 21st century, look at a school that has STEMs. Look at a school. If you get into that curriculum, the sky's the limit because it's so diverse. You can go all kind of ways. Even it goes in the healthcare field, it goes in agriculture, so forth and so on. Because a lot of neighborhoods now, you cannot just grow fresh fruits outdoors because you really don't have what we call a outdoor type concept. You may have concrete high buildings, but now you can grow food now in a little nursery now because of technology. So you can have fresh greens, fresh tomatoes, so forth and so on, with small space. It can come through a lighting system where the same lights that the sun rays give you, this would give you, so your ecosystem is totally different. So kind of look at that. I need you to support two schools for me. I sit on two boards. I sit on a board, Brown Christian Academy. Have my shirt on today for that. It's a nonprofit school, and one of the base curriculum is STEMs: science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Because the things we do in life are centered around that. And these kids are going to start off from preschool all the way up learning how mathematics plays that part in their life, or how technology plays that part in their life. And they're starting off with hands-on type learning. And they're excited. If you get a chance to look at them, they are excited. So if you ever have some time, go to brownchristianacademy.com or go to Facebook and look at Brown Christian Academy. And if you have $3 or $4, give to them because they're making a difference. Now, some people who talks about getting out of poverty, they have these long meetings and go on and on and on and on and on and on, but they do nothing until the next report come out. The next report come out, they all shocked. Poverty's still there. They just throw stuff here, throw stuff there. And then there's another gentleman. It's called Memphis Entrepreneurship Academy. It's ran by retired first sergeant. His name is Mr. Kelly Price and his wife. They run this program from out of their pocket. And he started the program because he wanted to give back. And one thing about the military has always been involved into STEM research. Always have. Because we get soldiers from around the country and they come in with different learning styles. And one of the learning styles that kind of fit everyone is STEMs. I was sharing this in a lecture. We have the cell phone now. And when I was in the military, we had something called a Prick 77. It had it was a big, huge radio pack. They had a battery on it and a little antenna. I think it goes about 5 miles. The same concept as a cell phone, but this is shrink and this is big. And they was experimenting the cell phone 40 years ago. And we had something called a TA1, which had a wire driven, and it goes into another phone, and we turn it and charge it up. Same concept. So we talking about what? I've been retired 20 plus years, 20 years in it. So we talking about 40 years ago. We was doing technology, science, engineering, and mathematics that far back. And it's proven that people learn better when they're able to put their hands on it. And it's been many, many years ago. Even when we look at the science world, when I first came in, we had some food and some cans. and it's called sea rations. And we take this little opening we have, and we open up, and we have peaches. We open up, and we had poke sausages and poke meat, all type of food. In these little small cans, we put on that backpack, and they move us out. Then we came from there to a food that we had in a little pack that we will put water in the food and let it sit for a while to shake it up, and then it became food that where we able to eat it. Whether it was dry food, add hot water to it, and then that was our meal. And all that came from science. In other words, we had dried chicken, or dried pork, or dried whatever it is, and put water in. And that was our food. And then we moved from there to another type of food. It was protein only. It's like a oatmeal type concept, or grits, where we put water in it, we stir it up, and then it didn't look good, but it gave you the proteins you needed in order to sustain yourself. So even in a science field, agriculture was a part of it, and that survived us, because you don't have time to fix a meal. You're fighting a battle, and we didn't have microwaves. But if you have $1 or $2, give to a nonprofit group, and it's headed by a brother named Kelly Price, retired First Sergeant, United States Army, and they work with a bunch of kids in the area of science, technology, and engineering. And they offer a 6 to 10 night honor here in Memphis, Tennessee. I'm giving you his phone number, area code 901 451 2900. Just stop by. Say, hey, bro, I like what you're doing. Because the kids that he's working with are inner city kids in poverty areas. And by using this curriculum, they have a great opportunity to come out of poverty. Because what happened is it teaches them the science field, technology field, engineering field, and the mathematics field. And those fields you can kind of go anywhere you want to go. But also it teaches them when they get to the area of becoming an achiever to go back and help those where you came from. So you may not have a lot of money to support these type of nonprofit groups, but hey, if you're at the store, buy a box of toilet paper and say, hey, Mr. Kelly, I was at Walmart or Sam's or wherever you shop. I bought some extra toilet paper for you guys. Or are you out there and you say, I bought some extra Kleenex, or you say, I went and bought a pack of paper from my copy machine. I bought you guys a pack too. They need all the help they can because they do a lot of hands-on type of experiments, a lot of hands-on type of teaching, a lot of hands-on. They may need a bunch of popsicle sticks. They may need a bunch of pencils. Matter of fact, if you at the store and they have a whole bunch of cups, those type of things that we can help these nonprofit groups move to the next level because they are working. They are in these areas with these children, hands-on, doing their best to help these kids come out of poverty. And many times people who are outside of poverty, they say, well, if they get off their butt and get a job and don't be lazy, they'll do better. But that's not always true. Sometimes poverty may be indebted on someone. Maybe my great-grandfather didn't do it right. I had a hard time, and it just filtered down. Maybe I'm in poverty because my parents went through a divorce. And because of that divorce, I had to move where I can afford to live. It's not that I'm lazy, or maybe my parents, one of them died. I was talking to a young lady in a focus group. Her mother died early in this little girl's life, and it was 3 of them. So the father had to work two jobs to make sure the family was able to survive. And they had to almost take care of the oldest child had to start taking care of the youngest children. And it was tough on them. They weren't lazy. It's just that death came into the family. So when we talk about poverty, it can happen to any of us. We can have a company and we're doing well. Something happened and we fail. Or things fall apart. And if you don't believe that it can happen to any of us, go to the emergency room. If you don't believe it happened to any of us, go to a cancer ward. If you don't have this can happen to any of us, go to a food bank and hear these stories. How some a tragedy or problems can happen in a person's life, and they didn't will it to happen. It just happened. So it's important that if a person may be in a poverty position or whatever, let us not throw stones at these people or at this person, because this can happen to any of us. This is my point. Let's give to people who are trying to correct the problem in poverty. If a person is running for office, and I always said, I want you to vote, but I want you to ask questions too. One of the things that I found out through this research report, it was saying that some of the problems that we have in poverty is public transportation. People want a good job, but they can't afford a car because of car insurance and also the maintenance of a car, so they have to depend on public transportation. And the public transportation may not be going where the jobs are. So they may have to just take a job according to the public transportation route. Because it's like anything else, when you're late to work, that's against you, and we will fire you. Next thing they have a problem is wages. 720 or 750, whatever it may be. It just don't cut it. Because then you're paying sales tax, you're paying this kind of tax, you're paying this and this right here. By the time you get your little paycheck, it's down to nothing. So you may have to work 2 or 3 jobs in order to make it. So it's tough out there. So let's not throw stones at people who are having a tough time. Let's ask questions from the people who are running for office and ask them and say, well, what are we going to do about poverty? And ask them again, again, and again. People who are running for school board, ask them questions. Don't just throw your vote out there because they need your vote. So ask those questions. Say, what's the best curriculum for my neighborhood? If you're in poverty, even if you're not in poverty, what's the best curriculum? What's best fit where I am? Ask those questions. And I think that you will learn that if they don't have the right answer or have the answers that satisfy you, don't vote for them. Just that simple. You can't continue to let a person lie to you, lie to you, lie to you, lie to you. You know, and giving you a turkey every Thanksgiving, that's not the way out of poverty. It's not the way out. So I guess my point is, don't let people use you to come out of your condition. Well, to sum it up, look at the curriculum that's called STEAM: science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. And then if you want to throw the A in there, and just read about it, Google it, go to YouTube, and see, does that curriculum fit where you are? Is that your learning style? And look at different research that has different learning styles for different people. But this is one curriculum, according to research, that help people who are hands-on learners. And the jobs that in the 21st century, this curriculum fits high wages, long-lasting employment, and also the quality of life. Also, the curriculum will help you give back because if you really look at technology and engineering, you're able to go back in that community and buy those vacant properties, buy these rundown homes, and turn it around. Because now you understand what engineering look like because of architect. So there's a whole concept out there to help us come out of poverty, besides throwing stones at people who are there, because it can happen to any of us. My name is Dr. Avery Taylor, and I want to say thank you for your time. But remember, if you have a couple dollars or two, share it with someone who are using this curriculum. You can Google Brown Christian Academy, we're using it, and also Memphis Entrepreneurship Academy. Throw them $4 or $5 and say, hey man, thank you guys for what you're doing to help people who are down on their luck to come off their luck. As always, text someone, call someone, even take a message and put it around a pigeon and tell someone you appreciate them. Thank you much.
Hi, I'm Deidre Malone, the host of Dialogue with Deidre. You can find us on the M1 TV network on YouTube. Subscribe and follow us. You can also find us on Facebook at M1 TV Network, Twitter, M1 TV Network 2, and Instagram, M1 TV Network 2. Please follow us so you can keep up to date with what's going on the M1 TV network with Dialogue with Deidre and Black Thought.